Hello, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message on spoiling mother on holidays. On spoiling mother on holidays. We have some individuals that, once again, you're doing some things that is causing mom to expect much from you going forward. You have said some things and mom is expecting you to live up to your promises. Sometimes we have found ourselves in situations that we didn't mean to fall into. I remember, God rest their souls, my mother and my grandmother, who they would mention something about Mother's Day, but as they got older, said things like, don't worry about the holiday. I'm good. I'm just glad to hear from you. My mother would say things like, I'm not like your grandmother. I'm not expecting money in a card. I'm not expecting you to go out of your way to come see me. But my grandmother, on the other hand, she had some pretty high expectations in terms of what she wanted from some people, especially in her younger years. As she got older, she started to care like she once did. But you were expected to give and give generously. You were expected to show up, or the very least call her, but tell her something was in the mail. Now, some of you all, know that you've got a mother or a grandmother or a great grandmother or a mother-in-law or a stepmother or some type of mother figure, like a spiritual mother in your life. And she may not be that demanding, but then again, maybe she is. We also got mothers who will build you up for that day. And once the day shows up, she figures you got the message, you got the hint, you know what you're supposed to bring, and yet you bring something differently. She's not going to be happy about that. If there was no time, energy, money put into it, she's not going to be happy about that. I know some folks will say, well, she need to understand, and I don't have the money and all this other stuff. But I'm just saying, I don't mean to be the messenger of bad news, but this is the society, this flawed human society that believes in loving oneself, putting oneself on a pedestal, taking care of self, adoring self, doing all these things to treat oneself, and even putting selfies up of all of the things that one's mother was given. And so what does this produce with all of this self? It produces conceit. It produces arguments. It produces sibling rivalry. Oh, so you bought mama that? Well, wow. But look what I got. So now we've got sons and daughters competing. You see, is that what mom was aiming for when she was hyping folks up for her holiday? Was that what she wanted, was two children or 3 or 5 or 7+ children arguing amongst each other about, you could have got mom a better gift. I mean, really. And you didn't even get mom any gift. And I don't even know why mom does for you, because you don't even act like you care about her or love her. And anyway, you use that day to bring up all your drama about mom, whether it was in person, over the phone. There was some drama with some of these families. As the Lord is showing me in the spirit delivering this message, someone needs a bit of comfort because mom wasn't happy. You saw the look on her face and you say, Lord, all I did was try. And the Lord said, and that's okay. That's all right. Because whether mom liked the gift or like the gesture or not, the point is that you did the honor. Come on. You did the honor. I honored my mother even when I didn't buy her, because Lord knows I did not always have the monies to give. And some of you all know how it goes, right? You don't always have the time or the energy, and especially when you live out of state. There's a lot going on right now, Mom. I'm sorry, but happy Mother's Day. And then as time went on and there was this separation and things had changed and people were passing away and all of that, I had my own life. And she used to say, you guys got your own life. You know what you do, that's your business, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, right now, this is my life and I got a lot going on, and I'm not going to call you with the dramas and traumas. I'm not going to call you with too much of anything, because what some people tend to overlook is that not every mother and daughter or every mother and son is getting along. And just because it's kumbaya and loving over in your neck of the woods, that isn't necessarily so. And some folks know details and some folks don't know anything, but all they can do is sit in the background and judge, right? Some individuals can just sit back and talk about, well, I know mom did this or mom, blah, blah, blah. But you see, things change as we get older, and we don't necessarily communicate in the way that we always communicated in, especially if you were the son or daughter that felt all sorts of issues emanating from mom, whether mom was jealous because you did for your mother-in-law. And she heard through the grapevine that you bought some things for your mother-in-law, but you didn't really buy as much for her. Or you got issues because mom was esteeming your sibling rather than just treating you guys equally and being appreciative of you both. Or mom still had issues with you from way back when, and you may have still had issues with her. And so now two people aren't really dealing with each other. Come on. When I wrote When Mothers Cry, that particular book, I wanted not just fellow mothers to understand one another's plight, because sometimes fellow mothers can be a bit difficult, believe it or not, toward one another. But I wrote that also so that the males would understand that mothers go through so much, and please, please be kind. Please be understanding. If you're not going to bring the peace, then don't bring the discord. If you got issue with mom, don't be the one that's going to stir up the pot. It's better to create the distance than to be all up in mom's face, being dishonoring and disrespectful. And I praise the Lord for that, because he does give us an out when things aren't so well with the mother or mother figures in your life. And people should respect that. But you know how it goes when they only see things in the way that they want to see them. And that's it. Then when I wrote Tell Me Mother You're Sorry, Tell Me Mother You're Sorry was dealing with the issues that all sorts of children, sons, daughters, right, go through concerning their mother. And it isn't, violins and roses and candies and a gift card to a spa. You see, there's something going on here that we need to deal with. And mom goes, I don't want to deal with it. And you can go to you know what on. Okay, well then this is why the relationship is where it is. Okay? Because just like I say, you don't want to be a man or woman's punching bag, right? You don't want to be that one who's in the physically abusive relationship, emotionally abusive. We can understand that when it comes to that intimate partner. We need to also understand that when it comes to even a parent. I am not here for you to be that one that insults me, that puts a guilt trip on me. I'm not here for you to play the silent treatment because you're not happy with something I did or didn't do for you. If this is what you're going to do, is play immature games, then I'm going to have to establish healthy boundaries and keep you at a distance. For some individuals, you have a long overdue conversation and you already know how mom's going to act, but you're going to press forward anyway because she needs to hear the truth, because you're tired of telling the lies. The mother-in-law who she acts, let's say, for instance, very disrespectful, arrogant, mean-spirited any other time of the year. But when Mother's Day comes along, now she wants to put on a good face, a good act. And so you got people around saying, oh, forgive and forget. She's good. Just go over there and do this and do that. And, why can't you guys just get along or whatever? And meanwhile, some of these daughter-in-laws are suffering on the inside, and they just want their husbands to be more understanding when she says, I'm not going over to mom's house next year or the year after or whatever. You see, I'm telling some people's business, I know, and it's uncomfortable to feel the way you feel about someone who you wish that they were like those movies, those black and white movies, very kind, very caring, very loving. But we know what kind of world we live in. And God has shown us time and time again, children of darkness can also be, dare we say it, a mother, a mother-in-law, a stepmother, an adopted mother, a spiritual mother. Yes. Some mothers, as quiet as it's kept, is into witchcraft. Various types of witchcraft, and we're not talking about of love and light and all of that some people claim that they're into, but we're talking about the kind that, oh, I'm going to get you for what you said or for what you did or for what you didn't do. And, oh, I just hope that they, end up suffering because of, now that is witchy. That is upsetting. The nerve of a mother who would do this sort of thing behind closed doors because she's so upset because she didn't get a gift. The nerve of a mother that would be so petty that she would talk to her daughters and sons about how terrible someone was when they did this or did that on Mother's Day. And meanwhile, the intentions wasn't terrible, but in her eyes, she saw it as such because she wanted to be glorified. She wanted to be on that throne where God should be. So when we see these sorts of things taking place, maybe we're not directly impacted. Like I said, my mother and my grandmother, they are deceased. But when we see this sort of thing happening with other people, we can be a source of comfort for them and tell them that I'm sorry that you are going through like what you're going through concerning your mother. There are things that you can do to safeguard yourself. You can be the one that's not talking so much to your mother because you guys may be just burnt out with one another. You don't have to be the individual that's trying to impress, everyone with the gifts that you lavish upon your mother when you know that you can't afford them. You can be adult about this and explain. And if she doesn't like it and she wants to act like a 2-year-old, well, we put 2-year-olds in time out, right? And then there are those individuals who they don't have these kind of issues, praise God, that everybody is pretty much respectful and they gather around the table and they have good food and, they don't hear about he say, she say the next day or weeks later. And we just pray that the Lord will continue to work and continue to restore relationships, reconcile relationships, heal relationships, guard people's mouths from talking evil. But I wanted to acknowledge those that are in pain behind the mother who just wanted what she wanted when she wanted. And folks were just like, I'm sorry. I can't be all things to you, Mom. And she may have cried about it. She may have, been disrespectful about it. But we don't go there. We don't go there. We don't argue with them. We don't fuss and fight with them. We choose the most peaceful way to deal with issues. And sometimes it does require conversation. It does require sometimes the tears. Some folks are struggling and got their share of fears. You don't know my mother. You don't know she's the kind of person that'll knock you upside the head or whatever. Well, you know what? You can have that conversation over the phone. Because my grandmother was that type. I talk about her sometimes on this channel. And I talk about some very positive things, but my grandmother had a side to her where she was not one that you wanted to play with. And I saw in her younger years where she didn't mind popping somebody upside their head or throwing something at them. Okay. So I know why some individuals just keep on dealing with the issues and they keep on buying whatever they're going to buy for mother, and they keep running for their mother, and they keep doing everything for mom because I just don't want any stuff. And God doesn't want any stuff either. And so that's why he says, and you don't have to be in the presence of that individual, but you just don't know. Well, you need to make yourself independent of that individual so that you don't feel like you're obligated. Because as long as you are the son or the daughter-in-law or the son-in-law or just the family friend or what have you that keeps serving that woman, okay, you keep coming around, you keep taking from that woman, guess what? She's going to expect you during these holiday seasons to do and to top the last gift. And to do better than the last deed that you performed, you see. Sometimes it wasn't about gifts. It was about service. My grandmother was the type that, okay, well, if you're not going to buy the gift and you're not going to put money in a car, well, the least you can do is come over here and take my garbage out. And the least you could do is to make sure that my walls are clean when I ask you, and you dust and you vacuum and you help out with making pies if you want a pie. And you help out with cooking dinner if you want dinner, you see. And some people were like, well, I don't have that kind of time because I know when we come over to your house, you're going to expect us to stay all day. And for her favorites, she was insulted if you left early. So that's why there was these hours staying over at her house. And that's why some people, as they got to know her and they felt more comfortable with saying no, they did just that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to make it. Oh, why? Yeah, well, here's what's going on. Or I'm only going to be here for this amount of time. They let her know in advance so that she wouldn't start talking about them, which she still talked about them anyway. Look, I'm only going to be at your house from 1 to 4. Then I got to go because I got this to do and I got that to do. Okay. And then I would listen. You see, she sit up here. She going to come over here. She going to eat, but she didn't wash no dishes. You know, this type of thing. And it's like the fact that she took her time out. You know, some of these were girlfriends of uncles. Okay. And they were just acknowledging her. Some would just drop a gift off. But I got to go. This little cheap gift. You see? So some of this sort of thing that, you know, I know some of you too, are going through. This was, of course, old for me. Like I said, she passed away. But, you know, these sorts of things can wreak havoc, can cause separation, can cause people to say, I love you, but at a distance. I'm not going to continue to go through this with you. I'm tired of receiving these insults from you, you see. So as mothers, we've got to be mindful of what we're saying and what we're doing, you know, when it comes to our sons and daughters and daughter-in-laws and son-in-laws and all of that. Some of you all are grandmothers. So, you know, you want to have that good example because I was that granddaughter that was paying attention. And I'm like, oh, is that how she treats people? Oh, okay. Well, I know that I'm not going to be going all out of my way to get this and to get that. If this is how grandma's going to act on these holidays, come on, you know? And so when people are watching, when you don't think they're watching, they're also saying, I've got the folks who I'm going to keep near, and some moms get jealous of that, but, you know, you reap what you sow. I got this crew over here that I'm going to keep near because I know they're not going to give me drama about what I say, what I do, if I can't make it, what have you. But these folks over here, I know how they are, and this is why I'm going to keep my distance. And I don't care who's judging. I don't care who's, you know, got an attitude about what I'm doing, but this is my life. And this is what I feel is going to help me keep a amicable relationship with individuals, but at a distance, you see. And the more you set those boundaries, the more you'll feel empowered. You'll feel stronger. You won't be taken advantage of because people will know where you stand. You see. And they're not going to be happy when you start doing some things that are different. I remember for years, my mother was buying, all sorts of things for her mother. And then if she traveled to see her mother-in-law, she was putting on a good face and she was making sure that she helped out and offered her different things. But then as time goes on, you're like, I don't know if I can be making these trips like this, right? I don't know if I'm going to be able to come out of pocket like this. And for some mothers, they don't take too kindly to that. Some grandmothers, what are you talking about? But as long as you're communicating, whether they like it or not, at least you're communicating. Don't be the one that makes false promises, right? And not live up to them. Don't be the one that sits up there and talks to your siblings about, I'm not doing this for mama. I'm not doing that for mama, and think that they're not going to go back and tell. Because that sort of thing is also why some mothers treat their daughters and sons in the way that they do and not in the most favorable light. Because I heard what you said to your sister, or I heard what you did, or where your mind was when you talked to your brother about. And so you expect me to be happy because you bought me this really expensive gift. Or maybe it wasn't so expensive. But let's talk about what it is that you don't like about me, or what I supposedly did to you, daughter, son, right? So now there's this animosity on a day that's supposed to be a happy day. I got something to talk to you about. My mother was good for doing that. And I would say, okay. And she would say something like, well, this is what I wanted to say because you this and you that. And there was a lot of the you. And I'm saying, well, okay. But this is why I said, or this is why I feel the way I feel. And I'm glad we brought it up because now this is a good opportunity for me to say some things. And if she did not like something that I said, goodbye. And she hung up the phone. You see, I'm not going to keep going there. You only got so much time with me before I say, that's it. For some individuals, they have long exhausted their mother's emotional outbursts, their mother's physical abuse, their mother's drinking. And that is something that plays a part in some of these holiday events. And you don't want to bring your kids around that foolishness, or your grandkids. Oh, mama's drinking again. Right? And then there are those individuals who have their share of boyfriends, because we've got some younger mothers and younger grandmothers, and I don't want to see her boyfriend. I don't even like him. So, a time that could have been a great holiday, but you got to have the boyfriend that the kids don't necessarily like. So you basically choose your boyfriend over, the kids. Well, this is my time. I'm having some fun or what have you. But if folks aren't getting along with one another, you might want to set up another day where he's not around, and now your kids are coming over and they're honoring you and giving you gifts, and they don't have to worry about that guy. You see? So these are things that we think about. And then when that next time shows up, the types of things we think about is peace. Peace. We want peace. So when that next holiday event shows up, maybe it's a birthday, maybe it's, a holiday season like Christmas, or, it's a wedding anniversary or a baby shower or whatever, and you're in the presence of your mother, at least you've taken the time out to think about what am I going to do? What am I going to say? What am I going to bring or not bring? How do I want to communicate certain things that are bothering me concerning my mother or mother-in-law or stepmother or what have you? So I hope that this Mother's Day season has been a blessed one, and may you all continue to be blessed. My name is Nicole, and if you want to check the description box, by all means, please do. And if you would like to give, you are welcome to do just that. Thank you as always, and to God be the glory.